Thank you all for being here. Uh, I now request everyone to kindly join me in welcoming Dr. Vanamala Vishwanath, a distinguished scholar, translator, and one of the most respected voice in Kannada literary studies, with over 4 decades of teaching at leading institutions such as IISc, the Regional Institute of English, Bangalore University, and Azim Premji University. She has shaped generations to learners and scholars. A bilingual writer in Kannada and English, Dr. Vishwanath has been deeply engaged with Kannada culture as an All India radio drama artist, a Doordarshan news anchor, and an advocate for translation through roles at Katha, Sahitya Academy, and the National Translation Mission. Her celebrated translation range from modern Kannada writers like Sara Abubakar and U. R. Anantamurthy to pre-modern classics, including the women saint poets of 12th century and the Raghavankas, Harishchandra Kavya for the Murthy Classical Library. Her recent translation of Coempu's Malayalalli Madhumagalu, published as Bride in the Hills 2024, has been widely acclaimed. This year, she has received the Lifetime Achievement in Translation Award from the Government of Karnataka. Again, please join me in welcoming Dr. Vanmala Vishwanath, and she would be talking about the direction and the film. Madam, please welcome you, and I request you to kindly take over from here.
Um, Thank you very much for that very gracious introduction. Um, I know that it's been a long evening and your patience is running thin. So I'm sure you're also eager to hear the uh, maestro himself. And therefore, I don't want to be saying too much because you're all very knowledgeable, sensitive viewers who have just watched a great film. So I'll just be try and be as brief as I can. For me, it's a matter of pride, privilege, and pleasure to be here to talk about this work. Pride because I will be talking about Girish Kasaravalli, Karnataka's best contribution to world cinema. So, won't you be proud? So, naturally. So, that's the pride part. And the privilege is why me. Maybe there are two big reasons. Like you, I'm also an incurable, fan of Kasarwali. And I met him 50 years ago. Maybe even he doesn't remember me. He was a callow filmmaker who came along with Baby Karans to All India Radio at the time of when Chomandudi received the Golden Lotus. And I was there as a programmer in All India Radio, looking at both these luminaries with awe, you know, dreaming that someday he would also give me a role, but Girish never gave me a role, you see. So that's a running, quarrel between us. Let that be. And I also said it's a great pleasure to talk about this film because it's such a visual treat and an intellectual feast. And, as you all witnessed it just now. And and I also have this one little qualification to be here to speak to you because all those years ago, some 27, 28 years ago, when the film came out, I made bold to write about this film in one of the Kannada journals, and I managed to get a catchy title for it. And it was called Paratantra, Swatantra, Atantra ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದೆ ನಾನು ಟೈಟಲಲ್ಲಿ. So you see that all three stages of Indian history are covered in this film. which ranges from about the 1947. Of course, you saw Appa Sahib hoisting the flag from, at midnight past 12 after Nehru, of course. But from there to, Nehru's death, uh, the film spreads across those years, the cusp of Indian independence. So here is that kind of a spread, a canvas of national history. But this film is a film with a difference in that we have many mainstream films which have also talked about the nation, where Gandhi and Nehru and Tilak, and that's the mainstream. Whereas here is we have a you know a voice from the margins, a life in the margins. How somebody in a small town, in a small village, is able to be part of the national struggle. This kind of regional participation is not often considered by historians of mainstream, national struggle and so on. So here we have a film which deals with that kind of a history. How did different regions, of India, small and big, which are generally in the margins, which don't get the attention they need, they should be given, which are not part of mainstream history, are also have also been there, and then you also see how, from the film talks moves on from the Gandhian era to the Nehruvian era, with Appa Sahib getting very disillusioned because Gandhian ideals are given a go by, and his disillusion and his inability to be, because he doesn't he's one of those people who believes that independence is not just a matter of chasing the British away, but also to establish equal rights for all. And when he, in his own capacity as a zamindar, tries to influence other zamindars to make that shift, to in his fight against the zamindari system, you see that he's not effective, and he's himself, he becomes a victim of that whole setting. And therefore, so what did independence mean to people, to ordinary people, the subaltern people, to women, to workers who are working in the fields? Well, what about them? So the film makes this very important point that perhaps independence was more for the classes and not for the masses, right? Because in Kannada they have a saying, ಯಾರು ರಾಜರಾದ್ರೆ ಏನಂತೆ ನಮಗೆ ರಾಗಿ ಬೀಸೋದು ತಪ್ಪತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, right? So we couldn't escape our routine, grinding the ragi millet in the grinding stone, whoever be the. So our routines, our lives haven't changed. So like that, you see that, this freedom has meant very different things to different people. And the constitution of this identity of India is largely, male, upper caste, middle class, and urban, right? That is that construction of the identity had come about, by around this time. And the film kind of, where nationalist kind of a discourse tries to tell us that it's a smooth, it's a victory, it's a triumph. Independence movement was a triumph. It solved our problems and so on. The film here is trying to kind of slightly make you pause and think about what is happening to the others, right? And if the film is so dear to me, it's as much for its feminist thrust as it is for its subaltern history, creation of subaltern history of the independence movement and those times. Uh, and Thayi Saheba, of course, is the title itself declares that she is the central character. And but there are several films with women as the central character. Then what is so different about this film? Um, you find that in most films which are women centric, it is still women within their domestic space, working within their domestic space and within that sphere to attain some kind of an agency, some kind of an independence, freedom for themselves, and to establish some kind of right. Whereas here, it is Narmada, that is Thayi Saheba's name, um, her maiden name, if you please. And before she was conferred the Thayi and Sahib roles by the feudal establishment, right? So, um, so you find that um, Thayi Saheba is like also responding to what is happening outside. Like though Appa Sahib tries to keep her, the Wade is like a jail to her, the big fortress. And all she gets, the news, even the news about the adoption has to come through somebody else, a third person. So you see that that famous scene that in this film where she's trying to massage, her husband's back. Uh, Many critics have commented on it to show how uh, when he says Gandhiji is very unhappy, she says, I'm also unhappy. But you see, he is so surprised. This kind of an indifference to her needs, this kind of a total, what is it, blindness. It's not a deliberate blindness, but it is the kind of blindness that comes because of the silent ideology of patriarchy, which is like air. It's there everywhere and you're breathing it, but you don't realize it. So patriarchy is like that in our midst. Therefore, he doesn't even mean it as a deliberate act of insult or indifference, but in his mind, it's not even a question. So it's strange that somebody who's so concerned about the farmers who are working for him is kind of blithely unaware of what is happening to his own women, the women around him. So Narmada has two options before her. One is to become like the first wife, Akka Sahib, who turns away and goes to renunciation, or be very subservient and be very compliant and be like Chandri, who is kind of somewhat worldly wise and knows which way the bread is buttered and just happy to go along. But Narmada is not like that. She, though initially you find her very very, very, pained but yet conformist. When she sees that Nanu, or the adopted son, can be happy only if he can marry this girl, and if she wants to not perpetuate the same feudal system of many wives and so on, he must marry someone he loves. And to make that happen, she's ready to, change things and even go to jail. So, see, like, for instance, um, Mother India is another famous film with Nargis and so on. So, for the sake of the nation, she is ready to shoot, a truant son who has gone astray. So, that kind of quality, like, is made much of by even our mainstream discourse. Whereas, our even Indira Gandhi, for that matter, was praised as, woman power and so on. I mean, we have even heard things like, okay, she was the only man in the cabinet and so on, right? So, um, so when women take on men's role to prove, or Kittur Chennamma for that matter, she valiantly fought the British and all those narratives we have heard. So that is the stuff of nationalist, discourse about the role of women. Whereas here is a woman who had not even stepped out, but who, by being who she is and where she is, within the limits of her, uh, you know, vade or domesticity. She's able to think for herself, to see that the older practices are hurtful, are very, very deleterious to women, and not wanting to be part of that, she wants to change it, right? So she becomes I, and not Thai, right? She says, "You call me I if you wish, right? If you want." So that sense of freedom, that sense of that she gives him, the son, the adopted son, and for her, I is a role that she has defined for herself. That is the most important thing here, that she kind of dreams up this kind of a different identity for herself, away from what tradition had conferred upon her. And even if it meant some degree of discomfort and uh, a world that's unknown, the jail life and so on, she's able to take it in her stride and go and do that. And for that reason, Thai Saheba uh, posits a different kind of feminist moment in our history. And for that reason, it's a very, very significant text. Not to speak of the, as I said, visual treat. And each frame here, is a statement in itself. And therefore, as connoisseurs of cinema, I'm sure you have enjoyed all this, appreciated, and I'm sure you have many more questions to the filmmaker who has made several changes from the novel itself, the original novel. But like any translator, he is also a translator, and translator, I can tell you from one language to another the kind of changes that we need to make. And he was making his change from a verbal medium, a novel, to a visual medium, the film. Therefore, change is at the heart of translation. And therefore, as a translator, he always takes liberties with the text to make it an effective visual text, as also an effective. There is also a Kasaravalli there in every film he makes, even though the main idea or the text may have come from some literary source in Kannada, right? I think almost all his films have come out of uh, writing in Kannada by major writers, and therefore the Kannada ethos, the Kannada-ness of the narrative is very, very important for Girish, and he does justice to, you know, to his material, to weave this magic for us time after time. And I'm ever so grateful that I have been part of this history of his becoming, you know, a great filmmaker, surpassing himself with every film that he has made. Very proud of you, Girish. Thank you. Yeah.
इसको छोड़ना इसको छोड़ना क्यों कर रहे हैं? Meantime, we are setting up for a conversation. We would be welcoming Mr. Vivek MV. Uh, I request him to join on the stage the moment it is set up for the conversation with our beloved Mr. Girish Kasaravalli. We are pleased to welcome Mr. Vivek MV, Principal Correspondent for Cinema Art, The Hindu, Bengaluru. With over 11 years of journalism experience, Vivek began his career as a sports reporter with Deccan Herald, covering major cricket events across India, including the IPL, ODI, Test matches, and World Cups. In 2020, he translated transitioned to the entertainment beat, contributing incisive features and opinion pieces on cinema. He later headed Showtime, the Deccan Herald Cinema Supplement, before joining the Hindu, where he is now an integral part of National Cinema Digital Team. Vivek specializes in digital storytelling, exclusive interviews, and long form features. He's also a podcaster and a video interviewer, producing video essays, roundtables, and ground reports for the Hindu's official YouTube channel, where he serves as a content strategist for all cinema related programming. Now, I request Mr. Vivek MV to kindly come up on stage, take his seat, and I request our beloved director, Mr. Girish Kasaroli, to also kindly come up on stage and start the conversation for us. Kindly join me in welcoming both the personalities on stage. Have one request for Mr. Vivek, sir. I would request you to kindly be watchful of the time and not to overshoot. Thank you.
Check. Hello, everybody. So we have 30 minutes. Let's get going. So for somebody who watches a lot of, I mean, for a lack of a better word, I know that you don't like these terms like commercial cinema. For somebody who watches a lot of mainstream movies, let's talk about the lead actor's performance, Jaimala ma'am. So she's obviously starred in a lot of mainstream movies before Thayi Saheba. I wanted to know if there was a lot of unlearning that she had to go to kind of get into the character. And as far as you're concerned, as a director, how do you flesh out a performance that suits the grammar of your filmmaking?
Yeah. Uh, Jaimal, as you know, is a very established actress, and she's also the producer of the film. Uh, See, actually, extracting good performance from the experienced actors are not a problem.
Mm.
You only have to cue them down. In a sense, they tend to made it very explicit. You tell them you don't need to make it so explicit, underplay it. That's all you need to. Like if you are working with a newcomer, then you have to do a lot of briefing and telling them how to do which are the parts of body which you can express and things like that. Here, I had to only tell her that between two sentences you need to give little pauses so that it gives a kind of a space for the viewer to internalize itself. That's all the instruction I need to give. Between when the seasoned actor or a mainstream actor is working on our kind of film, the only major problem with them is the timing.
Mm.
Because after all, there you need to condense a lot of things, and here we give a lot of option to this one to the viewer to to work with the plot and things like that. And that's all the difference, I think.
Right. And so, when it comes to like, if you look at what Girish Kasaravalli's film is known as, over the years, there has been terms that has been associated, like like you have been called a visual storyteller. So when it comes to Thayi Saheba, what I feel is that in the first phase of your career, this film stands out because it is more character driven than what is actually shown in the form of a metaphor or say symbolism. Because from somebody who is very meek and unsure of herself, she goes on to show different traits, like she becomes progressive, she's very brave because she walks out of the four walls and decides to search for a husband, and she also takes a stance in the end. So the film completely revolves around her, and apart from that, the how do you say, the supporting characters, they also kind of have their own traits. So is this film, how do you say, very significantly held on by its characters and especially the lead actor? Was it like a shift in your filmmaking style?
Mm. I don't think so, because even my earlier film, Tabarana Kathe, is our
Yeah, I wanted to say
yeah.
a small experience.
Uh, in fact, barring Gulabi Talkies,
Mm.
which we, of course, we are not seeing it here. That's the only film where, though Gulabi is the center character, we are also talking about the community and, the larger contextual. But in all other films, I try to understand the whole politics through a central character,
Mm.
like in Thayi Saheba here, in Tabra there. Um, uh, well, while I was writing this character, there are many things which I wanted to convey in the film. One is that, there is Appa Sahib, there is Thayi Sahib.
Mm.
And Appa Sahib influences Thayi Sahib. And Appa Sahib's understanding of politics and understanding of the socio-political situations is through ideological views. It's through brain, through ideas. Whereas Thayi Sahib doesn't understand the reality through ideas; she understands it through heart. So I wanted to play these two facets. One is working through mind, the other is working through heart. And who becomes more progressive, more politically correct? It's a Thai Sahib, because she intuitively starts reacting. And on the other hand, Appa Sahib, when his this one is, there is a kind of a opposition from this one, he gets into a shell. I wanted to bring that kind of a thing. So when you start, reacting to the world around you through your heart, the character, when the character starts reacting to the heart, it becomes more rounded. And that's why the Thai Sahaba understands the real in much more complex way than the Appa Sahib. In fact, she achieves all that what Appa Sahib wanted to do. He also went to jail. She also goes to jail. He wanted to give away all the lands, but he fails to do that. But Thai Sahaba does it very casually. And she understands Nanu better than Appa Sahib, who has adopted him. So that kind of a uh, this one between juxtaposition these two kinds of this one I have tried to do in this film. As you see in the film, the character of Thai Saheba, if you look at the characterography of the Thai Saheba, she goes from exterior to the interior. She, in the very first phase of Thai Saheba's, if I uh, split the whole narrative into three phases of Thai Saheba. The first phase, she gives more importance to the external appearance and things. She tries to put on a lot of colorful dresses, jewels, and things like that. That is one. That's how she can, attract Appa Sahib. But in the second phase, when she becomes a mother, she she starts, these colors, her colors gets faded. We don't use that kind of strong colors. It becomes slightly muted. And she also starts becoming very passionate and compassionate towards the characters. Not only with the Nano, but also with other characters. She becomes uh, this one with the Chandri. But in the third, where she's a widow, so she's wearing white dress. Now she's gone beyond all these things. She now wants to give away Nanu freedom. So this kind of a character draft, is very important for me, and I started working on this kind of a because as she becomes more and more as she becomes more and more, what is it, start understanding her body better than understanding her mind better than the body, then she becomes more and more mature.
Like you said, so it's about from the exterior to the interior. There's a lot of discourse about this movie's art direction. Of course, there's mentioning about the colors used. I feel doing it would have been very tricky for you because on the outskirts, this film is about Thayi Sahiba's resilience. So, and but at the same time, this is set in the like another period. So obviously, the props and the sets kind of gets attracted, but they shouldn't overshadow the internal conflicts that is gone through by the central character. How did you manage that? Because eventually, the art direction won an award as well. So how did you manage to balance that?
Both the art direction as well as the costume designing both won the award, national award. See, when uh, the common perception is that script is written in one go. It's not so. We work on it for months together, for 6 to 8 months. When you are working on the script, you try to put in so much of details so that the details starts becoming more and more expressive. It's very often we think it's only the characters or the acting performance which brings out the essence, which is not. It's the get up, including makeup, the costume, the settings, and also the other technical aspects like color, lighting, and if you noticed one thing is very the lighting that we have used in the first phase is more amber and it becomes more white towards the end. So these kind of subtle things makes the character more live, come out, make the character come out very effectively. So when people say the acting was good, I was sometimes very, I get very annoyed. I said, acting, what is acting? Acting is not by the actors alone. Acting is by the cameraman. Acting is by the editor. Acting is by the costume actors, by the setup. Hmm? So one need to do all these things. And a director who is aware of all these things start working on all these aspects to enrich his film. So that's why it takes so much time. One is not just working on the dialogues, or one is not just working on the actions. One is also working which camera angle brings this particular gesture better, which movement brings it to better, which color brings this better. So all these things, including the music, should I use the music or should I not? Should I use the crow sound or not? Should I use the barking of the dog or not? So these are the elements. One is the film director constantly keeps pinning down all these things. Writing down what should be the effect, what should be the color, what should be the movement. So it's very important, as at least for me, these cinematic elements and the details make the cinema, not just the actors, not just the dialogue, not just the plot.
I have one last question before I leave it to Q&A. So you mentioned about how you emphasize on some gaps between dialogues or the
Yes.
silence that involves between the scenes. There's one scene where Thai Sahiba's adopted son says that your husband has kind of been very, how do you say, has done injustice to all the women around him. But eventually, Thai Sahiba doesn't have any answers. Like over the years, what do you think is running in a mind? Like what do we understand from it? And generally, how does silence kind of empowers cinema watching for the audience?
See, Thai Saheba also knows that, that they say Chandri is there, Akka Sahib is there. She's not the only wife. She knows that she has been, wronged. Appa Sahib is wronged in her case, but she can't say it in words. But when Nanu says it, she can't even defend it, she can't even oppose it because she knows that what he's saying is truth. But she can't defend it because She can't oppose it because, I mean, she can't say that Appa Sahib is right because she knows Appa Sahib is wrong as far as is concerned. But she can't accept it because her husband, the traditional, this one, no woman would support the, defects of the husband. So that is the case. I wanted that. That's a very important role in important sentence in my scene construction because that's where Thayi Saheba realizes the kind of how she has been cornered or she is, and that's from that point onwards she starts asserting her you know her character, her persona. What is the second question you asked?
Generally about how there's a lot of
Silence,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
uh, I don't know. This is a question which I think Indian audience keep on asking because in India we believe that if you convey something through dialogues, you seem to think the message has been conveyed. But message has not should not be conveyed. It should make we should make the people realize, experience the message. So if it is just humiliation of Thai Seva, you must give a space so that not only the character realizes it, even the audience realizes. That's one of the reasons why in these kind of films you have more slightly slower paced, wherein you give a kind of a time for the audience to internalize what is happening there and makes it his own. That's, you see, I would say the difference between the serious cinema and the kind of a spinners, that is in serious cinema each movement, each character is given so much space so that our viewer gets the time to internalize it and not only accept it, he can also have that, he also gets the time to question that, which is that kind of a time is not given in the mainstream cinema because they constantly bombard with messages and bombard with emotions so that you don't think about it. You don't think about these kind of nuances. For me, the politics doesn't come in the end. Politics come within the film itself. Each action, each gesture, each action, each technique is a politics for me. So I want the viewer to experience that. Like, when Thai Sahaba doesn't react to the Nanu's this one, that's when we start realizing, yeah, here is the point, here is the this one where Thai Sahaba realized it. For me, that's more important. I could have easily said, yes, I agree or I don't agree, but that is only a statement. That's not an experience.
Thank you so much, sir, for explaining. Questions from the audience, please. Do we have a mic? No. You can ask.
Yeah. Yeah, come on, you are the
Namaste, sir. I'm not sure if this question has been asked to you before, but it's more of a general question. When you read a book, how did you know that this is something that you have to make a film on, as in this should be translated to a film? And one more related question is if there is a common factor among all your films based on these books, right? Because you chose to make a film. And I'm pretty sure there were many other books, many other equally um, rich books that could have been translated to a film, but you chose to make films on only these particular books.
How does one select a story or a novel? It's very difficult to tell you the reason as well as how it happened, how it came about. In fact, when I had read this novel quite some 5 6 years before the I made the film, but that time it did impress me much. Then you see the question of this, what Vanmala very beautifully uh, explained. This question of freedom. I started thinking about it. Why not make a film about it? You see, because in Karnataka, not more so in Karnataka than anywhere else, the freedom movement was restricted only to upper class. This one. And that too, the northern part of Karnataka. Southern part of Karnataka, we didn't have such a fierce freedom movement because we were ruled by Maharaja, and Maharaja was Gandhiji himself, praised him a lot. There again, the people of lower caste, people of women, people of middle class, they never participated. I started asking what. That was the time when I was reading more about the freedom struggle in Karnataka, and I asked this question: why did it happen so? As I went along, I suddenly it occurred to me, why not adopt this novel into? Then I tweeted a lot of things. There are see the character of Sahib is not there at all in the film. There, the Venkoba becomes villain. He finally kills Thayi Saheba. I deleted all those things because I wanted to concentrate on this, the evolution of Thayi Saheba vis-a-vis the first phase of Indian independence. The film starts with the death of Gandhi and ends with death of Nehru. There are two different pivotal points in the history of Indian cinema, Indian history, and each signify a different kind of a politics. Death of Nehru for me is the death of idealism. I don't know. Many people may not agree with that, but for me, you see that in that first decade of Indian independence also saw the morality or the ideals going away, going down, and that is signified. That's signified this second lawyer. He says you need to know how to go believe this. The first lawyer doesn't say. He only says, what rule book says. This man says it's not enough. And that's when he says Nehru is dead. For me, that is the point because from that period onwards, it is more of an opportunist policy than idealism. Gandhi's idealism was different, Nehru's idealism was different. So I thought, this novel gives me an opportunity to bring all the socio-political developments that happened vis-a-vis the transformation the society is undergoing. So you start working on these things. I started working on these things. Then I arrived at this novel. So I made this Nano character very strong, and Nano going away from the Wada becomes a kind of a stifling point. So these are all visual elements. I could easily bring it out in visuals, not in the novel form. So I started working on that. That's how it works. So it's very difficult for me to tell you why a particular story or a novel attracted me at that point. I'll tell you another story. When I made just one film. I made a film called Karoria just before Thayi Saheba, and the writer was narrating the story, and in the story, the boy takes the granny to Bangalore, but on his way, the granny faints, and the police comes to know, know who they are. And the moment the boy sees the police, he runs away. The writer told me this story. This particular incident suddenly, made me think about it. Why did this boy run away? He was so affectionate to the old lady. Then, a whole story. It started. Started rewriting the story in my mind in a different way. That's how it's some such detail or some political anecdotes that has happened, some social issues that has worked. Could be anything.
Thank you.
you, sir, for making such a wonderful movie, thoughtful movie. Nanಗೇನು questions ಇಲ್ಲ, but some things that it made me think about, I would like to share with you. ಒಂದು Thayi Saheba, when she becomes quiet, a silence, like it's an like if we experience that, ನನಗನ್ಸಿದ್ದು that she knows what is going on with her life and other women's life. It was like a little kept secret she was managing herself. Suddenly, when another person questions her about it, now she knows, everybody knows it. And ಒಂಥರ ಆಘಾತ ಆಗುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಓ ಓಕೆ, ಇದು ನಂದು ಚಿಕ್ಕ ಗುಟ್ಟಾಗಿತ್ತು, ನಾನೇನೋ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ, ಹೆಂಗೋ ಇದನ್ನ ನಿಭಾಯಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅದು ಪ್ರೆಸ್ಟೀಜ್ ಆರ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ಶಿ ವಾಸ್ ಟ್ರೈಂಗ್ ಟು ಕೀಪ್ ಅಪ್ ಇಸ್ ಕೈಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಫೇಕ್ ಅಂತ ರಿಯಲೈಸ್ ಆದ ಸೈಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಅನಿಸ್ತು ನನಗೆ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಏನು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, even in India, in reality, silence is very much existing among us. Like ನಮ್ಮ ಸ್ವಂತ ಲೈಫಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೇನೋ ಆದಾಗ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬರೂ ಸೈಲೆನ್ಸನ್ನ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಯಾವಾಗ ಯಾವ ಘಟನೆಯಿಂದ ಆಗತ್ತೆ, ಇಟ್ ಮೇ ಡಿಫರ್. It's sad that movies constantly create that shout. ಚಿಕ್ಕ ವಿಷಯ ಆದ್ರೆ ಜೋರಾಗಿ ಅಳಬೇಕು. Actually society imitates that, and then we become loud, and then we become very cryful, or so many times some things can be handled if you're silent than screaming, but we become, actually it makes us weak when we shout about it, and then you get on with the next part of the life. So ನನಗೆ ಸುಮಾರು ಸತಿ ಅದು ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ, our mainstream movies are misguiding us to behave in a certain way that we naturally wouldn't have otherwise. Adu, third point I wanted to make is, there is a concept I came across some time ago, I don't know from where, that women find satisfaction or fulfillment in her life because of the nurture or mother part or giving birth and those kind of things. So very seldom she goes after power and influence and make her mark in the world. But men's world is very different. Illi the brother, the original father of the child, and also the adopted father of the child, ಇಬ್ರುದು ಸೇಮ್, ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ದೇ ಆರ್ ದ ಸೇಮ್ ಪೀಪಲ್. ಇವನಿಗೇನ್ ಬೇಕಿತ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ತಾನು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಜಮೀನ್ದಾರದ ಇದನ್ನ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಂಡವರು ವಾರಸ್ದಾರರು ಬೇಕಿತ್ತು. ಹಿ ನೀಡೆಡ್ ಅ ಟೂಲ್. He didn't show any love or affection or anything. He thinks, okay, anyway, ನನ್ನ ಆಸ್ತಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಅವನಿಗೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, he will take care of it. That's his love and affection. The other father did not see his character and what he is going through and what is happening to his life. ಅವನಿಗೇನು ಈ ಆಸ್ತಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ದೆನ್ ಮೈ ನನ್ನ ಸಂತತಿ, ಲೈಕ್ he will take care of this. ಸೊ ಅದು ತುಂಬ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಬಂದಿದೆ. ಇನ್ ದ ಅಡಾಪ್ಟೆಡ್ ಫಾದರ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಸಟಲ್, but with the own father it's shown very bit more aggressively, because that's how the own parent kind of feels for the child, that somehow I will do beg, borrow or steal, like my son has to become something, and he's seeing the son is ಅವನು ನಾಶ ಆಗ್ತಿದ್ದಾನೆ ಒಂದು ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ, ಅದನ್ನ ಸರಿಪಡ್ಸೋಕೆ ಅವನಿಗೆ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತು. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ವೆರಿ ಮಚ್ ಫಾರ್ ಬೀಯಿಂಗ್ ಸೋ ಥಾಟ್ಫುಲ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ದ ಮೂವಿ.
Thank you.
Yeah, good evening. Yeah, good evening. First question is that I wanted to first I'll appreciate you for such a wonderful detailing for each and every character, from the background to the dresses and the colors, everything. I wanted to know the involvement and detailing what you go through, and what once this movie will come out and finishes. I just wanted to, I'm just curious to know how as a person you evolve with the movie and how you become after that. Thank you.
I don't know. It's the question. I find it very difficult to answer. Uh, the film doesn't end, as far as I am concerned. The film doesn't end the moment it is shooting is over. We grow with it. We develop a dialogue with the film, and every time I watch the film, every time anytime I think about it, I see only the defects and not the strength. So that makes me, you know, crave for something different. That's why the next film will be quite different from the one which I have done before. The film which I have done before this is Krauriya. If you see Krauriya and Thayi Saheba, you immediately see the difference. Similarly, if you see Thayi Saheba and Dweepa, you see the difference. Because I thought I should do something else, not the continue the same thing. So that way, the film is, as far as you, the film is over, but not for the filmmaker. He keeps, the filmmaker, there's a filmmaker called Eisenstein. He keeps on saying, director always develops a kind of an inner monologue right through his life. It's a monologue within himself. Did I do that correctly? Is it right? Is it the way film should be done? How did that man do? So how did the XYZ reacted? So how should I have done it this way? This is a kind of a constant ongoing struggle within myself, within my mind. So that's why, if you see a director's over in one continuous stretch, you suddenly see that he's shifting his gears from these two others. Like you see Ray, soon after Patir Panchali, he made Parshvata. After that, say after many years, he made a beautiful film called Chorlata, and the very next film is quite different from it. So it happens with all the filmmakers because he's not only reacting to your reactions, he's also reacting to the film itself. He's developing a dialogue with the film. That's a different kind of a thing. They create a kind of their own universe. There are certain filmmakers like Ozu, Yasujiro Ozu is one of the very probably one important Japanese filmmaker which every filmmaker adores, admires. He never bothered about anything else and he created the same ambience, same atmosphere, same in all some 30, 40 films. In fact, even the characters are the same. Mr. Some X is playing father here, the same actor is playing the father in the next film, in all his films. So you can even and even the plot wise, it is not they are not much different. Hmm? In one, the daughter is not married. In the second one, the son is not married. In the third one, the daughter wants to marry someone else. The father opposes. So you get confused. And the same actress is playing daughter in all the three films. So you get confused about the details. Which this particular detail is from which film? That kind of a confusion is there. And there's an actor called Chashurio who played the father in all his films. And people somehow connect Chashu. The moment you see Chashurio in the film, you know that he's going to be the father. So, but that's a different kind of way. They're real auteurs, They're real auteurs. They create their own universe. And in literature also, you find many people like that. Yashwant Chittal is one such. If you know Kannada literature, you know Yashwant Chittal tried to create one such, world of his own. It's a universe of Yashwant Chittal. It's a universe of Yashijiro Ozu. And I also try to create that in my initial films, but then later I abandoned that. But certain preoccupations continue right through the films, all my films. It happens with all the filmmakers.
Yes, very good evening, sir. Santosh here from Arkmanalli, one of the rural places in the outskirts of Bangalore. So I am here as audience by, unfortunately, I guess today, sitting with one of the beautiful ladies from England. So watching the movie and understanding the movie is different concept for me because I know the regional language. And she being from England, just reading the subtitles, she understood the movie. That's very good, and the picture says all about it. The success says all about it. But here I want to ask a question as like a personal question, because I am also an aspiring actor. I'm from a rural place. Today I enrolled in diploma in acting. So I want some advice and tips from you so that I can start my career as an actor. This is what my personal thing I want to ask you.
Enrolled in the sense you are enrolled in
Today,
any
today,
school, any school,
yeah, tent cinema.
tent cinema.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
Nagathalli
Nagathalli, yes. uh, Film schools actually contribute a lot to the person, especially if you are a filmmaker. If you want to be a filmmaker, film schools help you a lot, because we all have. See, I work. I know my body very well. I work every day, but I don't know the potential of each. The film schools make you aware of that. First of all, you see, in cinema, the facial expression is more important than the physical gestures. And quite often, we don't even know. Say, when I was doing this, my first film, Katashradha, I cast all the newcomers. I told one person, one actor, you need to look sad. I said, how does one look sad? Then you can't teach them. I can, tell them how to look sad or how to sit. So sometimes, sit, the posture can bring out the sadness. Sometimes the gesture can bring out the sadness. But the actor should know that, all these things. That's why I said extracting good performance from a trained artist, from a established actor is much easier. It's only, toning it down. Like you see the very first scene. Unfortunately, we had to do the scene in the very first day, where she comes to know that Appa Sahib is not coming home, but she is going to Chandri's house. She goes and stands near the door, near the window, and 1942, this challenge of this one is going on. British Bharata Bittu Toligi, some people are going, and she is looking away, and she closes the window and then turns to face the camera. And I told the artist, you have to close the window, turn to the camera, and then I should have tears in your eyes. In the first take, she was literally weeping. I said, I don't even need that kind of tears. Controlled, tone it down. Then she tried again. Little. I said, that even that much is more. Even that, just 2 drops enough. And then finally she managed that. This is, see, if it is a newcomer, and she doesn't, he or he won't even know how to bring out the tears, how to contort the face, isn't it? Those advantages are there. So film institute, film training teaches you. I won't say all the film you get that kind of insight in inputs in all the film trainings, but a good film training, if institute will give you all the inputs. That's very essential.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the valuable advice.
I know all of you want this to go on and on, but we have time for one last question.
Hello, sir. Uh, so I have an opinion and a question. So I'll go with the opinion first. So when we think about protagonists, so we think of characters. Or so I believe. So this is my opinion that the protagonist in this film is the struggle that the characters are going through. So in the beginning, they are very comfortable with the struggles that they are in. So they are trying to make peace with it. It's the same case with Nani or Bai or the tenants there. So they are just living with their problems. But as the story progresses, everyone is trying to break out of that mold. So they are trying to grow out of their problems. So I think this struggle also has an arc. So this is growing as a character. So that is my opinion. So also talking about protagonists. So and struggles. So Nani is also struggling with something. So he starts, experiencing, problems with Attar on his body since a kid. But he only rebels after a certain point. So when when he is trying to talk to his girl near the river, so when she says that, people will know. So why does it take that long for Nani to react? So is this the actor trying to stay with his struggle, or is he incapable of action until that very moment? So that is a question. And also about the translation and the subtitles that are there in the film. So when Bai goes to the lady's house for the first time, so when she is trying to leave the house, she says, ಅಮ್ಮ ಹಾಲು ಕುಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಿ ಮೊದಲನೇ ಸರಿ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಅಂತ. It translates to have milk, this is the first time that you're coming. But in the subs it says, have some tea before you go. So why is there a difference in the drink? So why is it milk in Kannada, white tea in English? So yeah, that's the question. So,
Yeah, I'll answer the third question first.
yes.
See, when you say milk in Kannada, when you say hal kudkondu hogi, then it has a connotation because it also indicates that they are two different castes. You know, uh, what is her name? Chandri's Manjari's no, Manjari's mother Chandri is from a lower caste. She can't offer tea to Thayi Saheba. For a Kannada audience or for an Indian, it is easy to understand why she is offering milk and not tea. You understand? You got my point. But while we are subtitling, it's also for the film viewers outside India. So they don't understand this. If you say don't have milk, they'll understand why milk. So they use the term which is universal, like have tea and go. They don't say have coffee and go. They will say invariably they say tea because tea is universally used in that sense. So there are many such this one while doing this one you need to take care of these such kind of things in while doing subtitles. In many of Sachitra's films, Sachitra's English is fantastic, but if there is a Bobby, he won't put sister-in-law. He will use the name. Take Sarojaya, he says. But that Sarojaya is not there at all in the film because if you say Bobby, sister-in-law, brother-in-law, and for a outsider, it makes it very cumbersome. Reading that is very cumbersome. Like in India, for each relation we have a different term. We have a kaka for one, and dodappa for another, chikappa for another one, isn't it? So mama is different from chikappa. So whereas for European it doesn't matter. And they simply put uncle. They don't say dodappa, elder uncle. No, they don't say that. So that kind of this one, the subtitle, this is done by Maithili Rao, one of the best subtitle giver of the country. She knows how to do this. That's the first. What is the second? The earlier one.
Second one was about Nanu's struggle and that kind of transforms. Why does it happen late?
No, yeah. Why does he take so long to express his? I wanted him to internalize that shock. See, I this kind of timing is something which only it's a director's decision. It's not even actor's decision. It's not his weakness. It's the director who says take this much of time. I need you to take more time. Then say otherwise he could have easily said it, expressed it in 2 seconds. I'll say no, don't do it in 2 seconds, take 3 seconds. Because that's not only for that particular shot, it's one has to keep the rhythm of the entire film on his mind. And only the director knows the rhythm of the film. So he tells actors how to emote, when to express that, and things like that. If you see the shooting tapes, they constantly hear the running commentary in the tape. Even the masters do that. Not in the West, but in India they do it. Even Ray does it. I know a lot of film directors who keep on giving instructions. You take right turn, look left, look up, look down, and all these things, so that the right kind of rhythm, the rhythm that director has in his mind, you attain that, you get that. That's why the acting in cinema is actually controlled by the director, especially in these kind of films. There are many such, I can give any number of explanations. There's a great filmmaker called Robert Bresson, a French filmmaker. He won't let any actor emote. He says, don't act. You just be there. I know how to construct a film. I need a prop, and you are a prop. He's on record who says the film actors are props. Like, I need this glass to make the scene effective. I like an actor who, and our Adur Gopalakrishnan makes the same statement. He won't let, Adur Gopalakrishnan even doesn't explain the situation to the, doesn't give the script to the artists beforehand, because yes, otherwise they will interpret according to their understanding. So I will control. I'll tell them when to act, when to express, when to emote. So if you don't like it, then the fault lies with the director, not with the actor. This is about the Nanu's reaction. I've told him, stay on, stay on, stay on. Now you react. No. The first one is character graph. For any filmmaker, for any scriptwriter, the filmmaker, biggest challenge is how to maintain a character graph. Because you see, we all construct, especially in India, films on 5-act structure. We need to introduce a complication and then grow, make it kind of a rich climax, and then denouement. Similarly, even for the character, you need to have this kind of a graph. If you think that a graph is good, I'm very happy that I have succeeded, because the character graph is quite well etched out.
Thank you so much, all of you, for asking questions so that Sir was able to break down the film further. And thank you so much, sir. It was wonderful listening.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you all for staying with us for this conversation and the talk and the powerful film experience. We are deeply privileged to have Sri Girish Kasaravalli with us today. We thank him for joining us and for allowing NJMA to celebrate his cinematic journey. We also extend our gratitude to our director, Sananya Kasaravalli, the Ministry of Culture, NJMA team for their support in bringing this festival. Uh, I also like to see all of you for tomorrow's screening, that is Kanasemba, Kudri and Neri. Excuse me. I request my colleague Mr. Subarnapatro to kindly come up on stage and do the honor. Yeah, in fact. I request I request Madam Dr. Vanamala to kindly please come up on stage.